You know those weeks? The ones where it feels like, I don't know, the universe is just playing these tiny, irritating pranks on you?
Oh, absolutely. Like your phone dies just when you need directions.
Exactly. Or you sprint for the metro and the doors just slam shut right in your face, when you're already running late.
Mm-hmm. That little spike of frustration. You just want to groan and let it ruin the whole morning.
We've all been there, right?
For sure. And look, while those moments are definitely annoying, they also offer a kind of an interesting chance to look inward.
Oh,
Yeah, because today we're diving deep into something much bigger than just handling one bad day. We're talking about building real mental strength.
right. Not like physical talent or some gift you're born with.
Exactly. It's that deep resilience, the kind that lets you handle life's inevitable bumps, the challenges, with more calm, more focus,
Hmm.
more power, really.
That's it. So if you've ever felt like you get easily thrown off course, or maybe you're just looking to build up that unshakable inner core.
Then this is the place to be.
Yeah. And this isn't about, quick fixes or just slapping on a layer of fake positivity.
No, definitely not. We're going to explore concrete things, actionable strategies you can use to develop a genuinely stronger mindset.
The kind of inner strength that, honestly, people around you will actually notice
Mm,
and respect.
right. And for those of you working on your English skills, we've put together something helpful. It's a free downloadable PDF.
Oh, great. What's in it?
Well, it's got comprehension questions based on our chat today, some grammar points that come up, and just a summary of the key ideas we're going to unpack.
Okay, useful stuff. Where can people find that?
There's a link right in the description. We really hope you check it out. It could be a great tool.
Perfect. And also, stick around until the end, okay? Because we're going to have a segment where we break down some of the vocabulary we use.
Yeah, so if any words or phrases sound a bit tricky, don't worry, we'll cover them.
Okay, awesome. So let's get into it then. Where do we start? What's the foundation here?
Well, the starting point, the real bedrock, is the specific mindset that mentally strong people adopt. It's fundamentally different.
Different how?
It really comes down to their expectations about life itself. A lot of people, maybe without even realizing it, sort of expect things to go pretty smoothly, predictably.
Mm-hmm. The ideal scenario.
Right. But mentally strong people, they operate from a completely different place. They actually expect setbacks. They see challenges not just as possible, but as like an inherent part of growing.
Okay, so they're not surprised or thrown off when things get tough.
Exactly. That expectation completely changes how they react when, inevitably, something does go wrong.
That feels like a really key difference, doesn't it? That moment of difficulty hits,
Yeah.
and for many, the first thought is almost, ugh, why me? Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Like, it's personal.
Right, a sense of grievance?
Yeah. But the mentally strong person, in that same moment, their internal question is different. It's more like,
Okay. What's the lesson here? What can this teach me?
okay. So they're immediately looking for the opportunity within the problem.
Precisely. It's like they view every single obstacle as a kind of mental training session.
A mental workout.
Yeah.
I like that. Like going to gym, but for your mind.
That's a perfect analogy. Think about building muscle, right? You don't get stronger by, avoiding heavy things.
No, you need the resistance.
Exactly. The strain, the effort, that's what actually builds the muscle. And mental strength. It works on a very, very similar principle.
So every problem, every setback,
Yeah.
that's like a weight in this mental gym.
It is. By engaging with it, by actually working through it, you build your inner capacity, your resilience. If you constantly run from discomfort or difficulty,
You're basically skipping your mental gym sessions.
you got it. You stay in the comfort zone and you don't grow stronger.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. It's about changing how you even feel about that discomfort.
Mm.
Our natural instinct is usually to pull back from things that feel hard or awkward.
Right. Avoidance.
But mentally strong people, it seems like they learn to recognize that feeling, that discomfort, as a signal like, okay, this is where the growth happens.
Yes. They start to lean into those tough moments, understanding that those are often the most valuable experiences for building that inner strength.
And this applies directly to learning English, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to think, I'll only speak when I'm 100% sure, when I know I won't make mistakes.
The comfort zone trap.
Exactly. And while it feels safe, that's often where language learning just stalls. The real progress, the mental reps for language skills happen when you push yourself.
When you speak, even if you're unsure. When you might stumble a bit.
Yes. When you feel a little awkward or self-conscious, Those are the moments where you're actually strengthening your language muscles and your overall mental toughness.
So those hesitations, maybe not finding the perfect word right away, yeah, that's not failure.
Not at all. It's proof you're engaging. It's evidence you're pushing beyond what's easy.
Okay, so embracing that feeling, that slight awkwardness when speaking English, is actually key. It builds the language and the mindset.
Precisely. It's counterintuitive, but crucial.
All right, so we've got this foundational mindset shift down. Expect challenges, see them as training. What about when the struggles actually hit? Because they will hit.
They absolutely will. Struggles are just part of the human experience,
Yeah.
unavoidable.
Right.
And what really marks out mentally strong people isn't whether they face difficulties everyone does, it's how they choose to respond when those hardships arrive.
That really hits home. It's not about dodging bullets forever. It's about building the capacity to handle them when they come. I often think about fire. Fire can destroy everything.
Right, devastation.
But it's also the thing that forges steel, makes it stronger, purifies gold.
That's a powerful analogy. The struggle itself is like that fire.
And our reaction determines whether it burns us down or, well, forges us into something stronger.
Exactly. There's a really striking example of this in the story of David Goggins. Have you heard of him?
Vaguely, yes. Known for extreme endurance, right.
That's him. But his starting point was quite different. He was facing huge challenges, severely overweight, battling depression, stuck in a dead-end job he hated.
Wow. Okay.
Then he saw a documentary about Navy SEALs, and something just clicked.
He decided he wanted to become one.
He did, which was frankly an audacious goal given his situation. But the immediate hurdle was massive. Just to qualify for training, he needed to lose over 100 pounds.
Over 100 pounds. In how long?
3 months.
3 months. That sounds borderline impossible. Enough to make most people just give up right there.
It really does. But instead of getting crushed by the sheer size of that challenge, Goggins just got laser focused. Small, consistent actions every single day.
What did that look like?
An incredibly brutal training routine, waking up way before dawn, running huge distances, pushing his body far beyond what seemed possible.
That must have been agony.
He's been very open about it. He said he wanted to quit pretty much every single day. The physical pain, the mental exhaustion, it was almost unbearable.
But he didn't quit.
He didn't. He consciously chose to push through that daily resistance. He understood deep down that the struggle itself, the very act of pushing through the pain, was making him stronger, physically and mentally.
And now he's this icon of mental toughness.
Exactly. His story is such a powerful reminder that so many of the limits we think we have, they're actually self-imposed. They exist mostly in our own minds.
And that connects right back to learning English, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Every time you hesitate to speak because you're afraid of making a mistake, every time you're misunderstood or you stumble over pronunciation, those are your language learning struggles, your Goggins moments in a way.
But they're not stop signs.
No, they're opportunities. They're the reps you need to build that mental muscle in the language. It's about embracing that idea of failing forward.
Failing forward, meaning.
Learning from those tough moments, those failures, and using them as fuel to keep going, keep improving.
Okay. Mindset shift? Check. Handling struggles? Check. What about the things we need to stop doing? Things that actively weaken us mentally.
Ah, yes. This is crucial. Building mental strength isn't just about adding good habits. It's also about consciously removing the bad ones, the ones that drain our mental energy.
Okay, what are the big ones?
I'd highlight 3 main culprits: complaining, constantly chasing comfort, and making excuses.
Oof. Those can be sneaky, can't they? Because they sometimes feel good, or at least like a release.
They really can. Take complaining. Venting feels like you're getting something off your chest, right? Sharing the burden.
Yeah, a bit of temporary relief.
But when you really look at it, complaining keeps your focus stuck firmly on the problem, not on finding solutions, not on moving forward.
And it just eats up mental energy without actually changing anything.
Precisely. It's a major drain. And then there's the relentless pursuit of comfort.
Which feels so natural. We're wired to seek ease, avoid pain.
We absolutely are. We naturally drift towards the easiest path, the option with the least effort or risk. But real growth, whether it's physical fitness, mental resilience, or learning a skill like English, almost always happens when you step outside that comfort zone.
Right. You don't get fit sitting on the couch, even though the couch is comfortable.
Exactly the same principle applies mentally. Staying comfortable means staying stagnant.
And the third one? Excuses. Oh boy, we can be creative with those.
We really can. I just don't have time. I'm not naturally good at this. Oh, I'll start when things calm down, or when I have the right equipment, or when X, Y, and Z happen.
They feel so real in the moment, don't they? Like valid reasons.
They do. But more often than not, they're just self-imposed roadblocks, limitations we create that stop us from taking action and actually growing.
This feels especially relevant for English learners, that internal voice.
Oh, absolutely. Be really aware of thoughts like, I'm just bad at English. It feels like a statement of fact.
Yeah, a fixed thing.
Try consciously changing it. Reframe it to something like, I'm still learning English.
That one word, still, makes a huge difference.
It implies progress. It implies a journey, not a dead end. It shifts your whole perspective from being stuck to being, in motion.
Mentally strong people don't wait for the perfect conditions, do they?
No, that's often just procrastination in disguise. They focus on creating their own momentum, starting right where they are with whatever they have now.
That's powerful. Speaking from where you're going, not where you feel stuck right now.
Exactly. So if you recognize yourself falling into these patterns, complaining often, always choosing the comfortable option, making excuses, just pause
Take a breath.
and make a conscious choice. Replace those energy-sucking habits with action, with building strength.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset, handling struggles, cutting out the negatives. What about the positive actions? The daily habits?
Yes, this is where the real building happens. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Mental strength isn't usually built in one big breakthrough moment.
Not a lightning strike of insight.
No, it's built through the accumulation of small, sometimes even boring, and yes, often slightly uncomfortable actions that you commit to doing consistently, day in, day out.
Right. It's less about sudden epiphanies and more about building a solid system, isn't it?
Exactly. A system of just showing up, doing the work, especially when you don't feel like it.
It's about pushing that consistency, testing your resolve bit by bit.
And often it's not the glamorous stuff. Let's talk specifics.
Okay. Examples.
Take something simple, like a cold shower.
Ooh, I felt a shiver just thinking about it.
Right. That initial blast of cold water is unpleasant. Your brain is screaming, get out, get warm.
Every instinct is escape.
But consciously choosing to stay in, to breathe through it, to control that urge, that's a powerful mini workout for your discipline, your mental fortitude.
It's not just about the cold. It's about mastering the impulse.
Precisely. It's training the mind to handle discomfort. And physical exercise is another great one.
How so? Beyond the obvious physical benefits.
Well, think about when you feel tired, sluggish. That often drags your mental state down too, right?
Definitely. Body and mind feel linked.
So when you push yourself physically, when you push through that resistance, that feeling of, I can't do anymore, you're sending a message to your brain.
What message?
I can push through challenges. I am capable of more than what feels easy. It builds mental resilience alongside physical strength.
Okay. Cold showers, exercise.
Yeah.
What else?
Meditation. Now, some people hear meditation and think it's only for, super calm, Zen-like people.
Or that it's really difficult or mystical.
Right. But really, it's like a mental boot camp. It's fundamental training for your attention.
Getting your focus.
Yes. Learning to observe your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them. Learning to respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting on impulse. It builds that inner space.
Okay. Now, what about something super practical for our English learners, fitting this daily habit idea?
Yes. A great micro tip. Try recording a short voice memo in English every day.
Just talking into your phone.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Talk about your day, what you're thinking, anything. Just a minute or two.
How does that help?
That small, consistent act builds confidence like crazy. It gets you comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English, builds fluency in a really practical way that just reading textbooks can't match.
Simple but effective. So all these little daily actions, cold showers, exercise, meditation, voice memos.
They build discipline, and discipline really is like your mental armor.
Armor.
Yeah, it's that unseen strength you build up through these consistent acts of self-control, of pushing through, and when life throws chaos at you, which it will.
That armor protects you. Helps you weather the storm.
Exactly. It gives you that crucial layer of resilience. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about emotions, specifically managing them when things get intense.
Oh, yeah. That feeling of being completely overwhelmed. Like an emotion just washes over you and you lose control.
We've all been there. Something happens, it triggers a strong feeling, anger, fear, frustration, and suddenly you're reacting, not thinking.
Impulse takes over.
Exactly. But mentally strong people, They've cultivated the ability to create a buffer, a pause.
A pause in that heated moment.
Yes. Instead of that immediate, impulsive reaction, they consciously choose to pause, take a breath, then decide how to respond thoughtfully.
That sounds so simple, but in practice, it feels huge, like creating space.
It is huge. It's creating that tiny gap between the stimulus, the thing that triggered you, and your response. And in that gap, that's where you regain control. That's where your rational mind can step back in.
So it's about not being controlled by the emotion.
Precisely. Think of emotions like waves in the ocean.
Right.
Rise up, they might crash down with real intensity, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, they always pass, they recede. Now, if you just let the wave smash you and carry you away, you get tossed around, maybe make decisions you regret.
Wiped out.
Right. But if you learn to sort of swim through them, acknowledge the wave, feel its power, but not let it dictate your every move, that's emotional strength. That's control.
And how does this apply for someone learning English, especially when they feel nervous speaking?
Great question. When you're nervous speaking English, the instinct is often to rush, to speak faster, get it over with.
Yeah, definitely. Speed up to hide the nerves.
But doing the opposite is way more effective. Consciously pausing, taking a deliberate breath, slowing down your pace.
How does slowing down help?
2 ways. 1, it helps calm your own nervous system, gives your brain a second to catch up. 2, it makes you much clearer and easier to understand. Your pronunciation often improves when you slow down.
So speaking slowly and deliberately, especially under pressure, that's a skill.
Absolutely. It's emotional control and language control working together. It's a real sign of strength. Okay, next up, a big one. Failure.
The F word. The thing everyone tries to avoid, right? The ultimate sign you messed up.
That's the common view, isn't it? Failure equals bad. End of story.
Pretty much.
But what if? What if we completely flip that script? What if failure isn't the enemy? What if it's actually a teacher?
A teacher. Like
Wow.
it's trying to help us.
Exactly. A really valuable teacher, actually. One that's deeply invested in helping you grow, even if the lessons feel harsh sometimes.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So instead of feeling crushed by failure, we should look for feedback.
Precisely. That's what the most resilient people do. They don't see failure as some final verdict on their worth or ability. They see it as data, information.
Data.
Yeah, crucial insights that show them what didn't work so they can adjust their approach next time. Someone once called it growth wearing a slightly rude outfit.
I like that. It might not feel good, but it's giving you something valuable.
Exactly. It forces you to learn, to adapt, to get better.
It's true, isn't it? When you look at really successful people in any field.
Their path is usually littered with failures. They've probably failed more times than most people have even tried.
It almost seems like failure is a necessary ingredient for big success.
It really does. So if you've had a setback recently, something you feel you failed at, try to reframe it. See it as proof. Proof that you're actually doing something, that you're in the arena, as they say. You're learning by doing, not just watching from the sidelines.
And for English learners, this is huge. That fear of making mistakes.
It can be paralyzing. But if you mispronounce something or use the wrong tense or just have an awkward moment.
Don't freeze up, don't apologize endlessly.
Right. Just smile, maybe correct yourself quickly if you can, and keep going. Own it as part of the learning curve.
Turn every mistake into a mini lesson.
Yes. If you can cultivate that mindset, the fear of failure starts to lose its power. It stops being this terrifying monster and becomes a tool you can actually use to level up.
Okay, reframing failure is powerful. What about our general attitude?
Yeah.
How we just show up in life?
That's another huge piece of the mental strength puzzle. It's not just the inner work, it's how you carry yourself, how you respond outwardly, especially when things get chaotic or don't go according to plan.
Because life will throw curveballs.
Guaranteed. And mentally strong people seem to handle those curveballs with a certain steadiness.
Yeah, they don't seem to completely unravel.
Exactly. When things go wrong, they're not the ones falling apart, panicking, or immediately playing the victim, asking, why always me?
So what do?
They pause, they assess the situation calmly, and then they respond with reasoned action, even if everything around them feels like chaos.
It's like they're grounded somehow. Rooted.
That's a perfect way to put it. Think of yourself like a sturdy mountain, not a leaf blowing in the wind.
Okay.
The storms might rage, the winds might blow, unexpected stuff happens, but at your core, you remain stable, unshakable.
Now, this isn't about pretending everything's fine when it's not, right? Toxic positivity.
No, absolutely not. It's not about denying reality or suppressing feelings. It's about choosing your response to the reality rather than letting the circumstances dictate your entire state of being.
Choosing your response.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how can we apply this as, say, an English learner feeling frustrated?
Okay, practical shift. Instead of getting stuck on, oh, why can't I speak like a native yet?
Which is kind of a victim stance.
Yeah, focuses on the lack. Shift the question. Ask yourself, okay, what's one small thing I can actively do today to speak a little better?
That changes everything. It puts the power back in your hands. It's actionable.
Exactly. It shifts focus from some distant, maybe unattainable perfection to immediate, achievable progress.
Progress over perfection.
That's the mantra.
Uh-huh.
And cultivating that general, I'll figure it out attitude, believing in your ability to find a way through challenges, that's crucial for ongoing growth.
Okay. Mindset, struggles, habits, emotions, failure, attitude. It feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Is there one thing that ties it all together?
There is one core principle that underpins everything we've talked about.
And that is?
Discipline.
Discipline. Okay.
Discipline, it beats motivation every single day.
Wow. Say more about that, because motivation feels so important, that spark.
Motivation is great. It's a fantastic starter. It gets you excited, gets you off the couch, but it's fickle. It comes and goes. You can't rely on it.
Like fair weather friend.
Exactly. Motivation is like the kindling for a fire, burns bright, gets things going, but burns out fast. Discipline. Discipline is the solid firewood.
The firewood. Okay, explain.
It's the steady fuel that keeps the fire burning long after the initial spark of motivation has faded. It's what keeps you going on the days you feel tired, uninspired, bored. The days you just don't feel like it.
We all know those days. The alarm goes off and the last thing you want to do is study English or go work out or tackle that hard project.
Right. Motivation is nowhere to be found. But discipline, that's the voice that says, doesn't matter how you feel, this is what we do. Get up, let's go. It compels you forward.
So discipline is about the doing, regardless of the feeling.
Precisely. And the power of small, consistent actions driven by discipline is immense. It's far more effective long-term than waiting for big bursts of motivation.
So setting a small, manageable English routine, even just 10 minutes a day,
is way better than planning a massive 3-hour study session someday when I feel motivated, which might never happen. That daily 10 minutes done with discipline builds real momentum.
It compounds, doesn't it? Like interest.
It absolutely does. Discipline builds habits. Habits shape your actions. Actions shape your future. It all starts with that commitment to consistency.
So the advice isn't wait until you feel ready or wait for the perfect moment.
No. The advice is start now. Even if it's messy, even if it's small, just begin and commit to not stopping.
Because once you build that discipline muscle,
you become less dependent on waiting for motivation to strike. You just do the work. You build consistency. And that consistency ultimately is what makes you unstoppable in reaching your goals.
wow, discipline is the engine. Okay, that's a lot to process. And, we use some specific words today. Chaos, crumble, forge. And we should clarify a few.
Absolutely. Understanding the vocabulary really helps lock in the concepts. Let's quickly go through some key terms we use.
Okay, where should we start? How about chaos? We mentioned responding calmly amidst chaos.
Right. Chaos just means complete confusion or disorder, total lack of order. Like imagine a classroom when the teacher suddenly steps out, it can quickly descend into chaos.
Got it. Total mess. What about crumble? You said mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure.
Crumble means to fall apart, either physically, like an old cookie, or emotionally. So if someone crumbles under pressure, it means they lose their composure, they break down emotionally because the stress is too much.
Okay. And you mentioned David Goggins filling a void in his life.
Yes. A void is an empty space, or maybe more relevant here, a feeling of emptiness or loss. Like if a close friend moves away, you might feel a void where their presence used to be.
Makes sense. We talked a lot about resistance, pushing through resistance.
Resistance is simply opposition or pushback. When you lift weights, your muscles encounter physical resistance. When you try to change a habit, you often feel mental resistance. It's the force you have to work against.
Okay. And similar to crumble, you used collapse, like a building might collapse.
Yeah, collapse is usually a sudden falling down or breaking apart. An old building might collapse after an earthquake, or someone might collapse from exhaustion. It implies a more sudden breakdown than crumble sometimes.
Right. Then there was forge, like fire forges steel or struggles forge strength.
Forge means to create or shape something, usually through significant effort or difficulty. You can forge metal with heat and hammering, or you can forge a strong friendship through shared experiences and trust. It implies creation through effort.
I like that. And endurance. Goggins is known for his endurance.
Endurance is the ability to keep going despite hardship or difficulty, to withstand prolonged effort or pain. Running a marathon requires incredible physical and mental endurance.
Definitely. You mentioned being in the arena versus watching from the sidelines.
Right. The arena is a place of action, competition, intense activity. Think of a sports arena, or metaphorically, the business arena. Being in the arena means you're participating, taking risks.
And the sidelines?
The sidelines are the edges. If you're on the sidelines, you're watching, observing, not actively participating in the main event. You're not taking the risks or reaping the direct rewards of being in the game.
Got it. And armor. Discipline is mental armor.
Armor is protection. It can be physical, like a knight's suit of armor, or metaphorical. Emotional armor could be your confidence or resilience protecting you from criticism or setbacks. Discipline acts like that protective layer for your mind.
Okay, two more pairs. Stimulus and impulsive. You talked about the space between stimulus and response.
A stimulus is anything that causes a reaction. A loud noise is a stimulus that might make you jump. An insult could be a stimulus that triggers anger. It's the trigger.
And impulsive.
Impulsive means acting suddenly without thinking things through, often based on that initial reaction to a stimulus, making an impulsive purchase or saying something impulsive in anger.
Right, reacting without that pause. Last one. Victim, not playing the victim.
A victim is someone who suffers harm, loss, or unfair treatment. While people genuinely can be victims of circumstance, playing the victim or having a victim mentality means habitually seeing yourself as helpless and blaming external factors for your problems rather than taking responsibility for your response. Mentally strong people refuse that mentality.
Okay, that clarifies things a lot. Thanks for breaking those down.
My pleasure. Using the right words helps clarify the thinking. And remember, trying to use these new words is part of the process. Don't worry about getting it perfect right away.
Absolutely. And, if you're listening to all this and maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, thinking, wow, that's a lot I need to work on.
That's actually a really good sign.
How so?
It means you're recognizing areas for potential growth. That awareness is the absolute first step towards making positive changes. It means you're ready.
That's a great way to look at it. And remember, if this deep dive resonated, that free PDF is waiting for you.
Yep. Link in the description.
Yeah.
It's got exercises, summaries, really practical stuff to help you integrate these ideas into your life.
We really appreciate you spending this time with us, diving deep into mental strength.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
And if you found this valuable, maybe think about sharing it. Someone else you know might need this boost too.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future deep dives.
Until next time.
Stay strong. Stay consistent in your efforts.
And keep taking those leaps forward. Your learning doesn't have to stop here either.
No, definitely not. Check out some of our other deep dives. You might find interesting connections or other topics that resonate with you.
Absolutely. And finally, maybe just one last thought to chew on.
Okay.
Think about identifying just one small action, something maybe a little outside your comfort zone right now.
Just one.
Just one. That you can commit to doing consistently every single day, starting today.
And consider, what could the cumulative effect of that one small, consistent, maybe uncomfortable action be over weeks, months, years?
What could it build? What tiny daily act of mental strengthening will you choose?